Hey beauties, morning to you. You know, I wanted to speak on a particular matter, which I'm going to address in another subject or another post rather. You probably want to hear it. It's one of those juicy topics, and so on. But this particular one, I'm glad I came across it because sometimes we tend to forget, and I guess that is why the song writer had written, "Lest I forget." Gethsemane, lest we forget that we're humans, we're prone to failure, we're prone to wander, wander, and not wonder, as in if you're thinking about something, pondering something. We're prone to stray, we're prone to fail. That is who we are. We were born in sin, shaped in iniquity. And he said, be careful of how you treat people. He said, don't be daunted, don't be puzzled, so to speak, by the fact that you will see somebody and they say, how this person is surrounded by, people with clout, people with influence, people with fame, but things are not happening for them in the way it should happen. And, there are people that I will see and I say, how this person knows so many people, but yet things cannot happen in the way they should happen. It is because they're really reaping the seeds, the harvest of the seeds, that they had sown years, months, weeks, days prior. And he even said, let me tell you something, politicians, be careful. One day you will no longer be in that office. The number of politicians who are no longer in the office, and things are not going the way they thought it would have gone for them, because they failed to treat people with respect. They treated people with disdain. They did not treat them with dignity. They exude no integrity. They were unfair. They were unjust. They were evil, and they did not think that they were planted seeds. They were actually working to be paid, because one of the things that people don't understand, everything you do, good or bad, you are working to be repaid, and at some point you are going to be paid for it. He not only called politicians, he said even ministers of the faith. He said even if Jesus comes back, you will no longer be in the office, men and women alike. And he said, parents, mothers and fathers, be careful of the child that you treat badly, because that is a child that will come back and have to take care of you in your old age. That is a child. The very present, great, talented, gifted, anointed woman of God, Shirley Caesar, Pastor Shirley Caesar, sung a song years ago. I don't remember it. It's 9 months ago. No, man. She was telling a story in her song. She's one of those. She's a brilliant artist and minister. And in the song, basically, you had like the good son, the bad son. Years later, the good son got married. The other one was single. And because she spoke what you call broken English, grammatically incorrect, the mother, the wife of her son, her daughter-in-law, said, I don't want your mother around my children, because she's spoiling their language, how they speak. And he had to send her away. And it was the bad son, the troublesome son, that took his mother in, because he was not going to send his mother to a home or for any caregiver to care for her. He would have been the caregiver, the one that she thought would not have taken care of her. So be careful of what you do, because people only assume that it only goes for a certain sector, like parents feel that because the Bible says, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land, that they can do any and everything to their child. God will hold you accountable, because to whom much is given, much is required. He gave you a big responsibility with a kind of a covering, a safeguard over it, and you breach it. There is a defect, and you don't feel like God won't hold you accountable if you treat your children badly. I heard a pastor preaching on it once. God will hold you accountable. He will bring you to your knees, and where the child that you thought would have treated you and thrown you aside takes you in, and the one that you prize and put on a pedestal is the one that discards you. Be careful of what you do, my beautiful people. One of the worst things is to reap some sort of defect in an inopportune time. In an inopportune time. You know when the inopportune time is? When you're down on your luck and when you're very old. When you have no money and when you're very old and you're weak and you're feeble, your natural strength was abated and your eyes had gone dim. Be careful We're not perfect. Nobody's expecting you to walk the chalk line and not slip off sometimes. You will slip off and have to hold on to that line. But what you do, you make it a practice. Making a practice means you have to intentionally do it. You have to tell yourself, it feels very fake, it feels weird, but I rather weird than to go and pay consequences of actions that I don't have the funds. And when I say funds, I don't mean literal money solely to pay. So let me be very careful of the things that I do to people. I don't joke, people. I don't joke. And it's not a matter that, oh, Lord, me afraid of you. Like, no, I fear God. I really do have respect for God because He has been good to me. Let me tell you something, beautiful people. Had it not been for the grace of God, I probably would not have been here. I would have been one of the worst human beings on the planet. It doesn't mean that I'm not perfect. I am not. I'm learning. I'm growing. I will still make mistakes. I will fail. But know that when I fail and I falter, I say, God, these are my weaknesses. Help me to hurdle them. I'm not going to allow anyone to rush me to go over there, to get over them, because Rome was not built in a day. And the kind of building that probably Rome was carved and manufactured, the kind of material is like not even steel is as formidable, or cement with gravel, with cement, hear me, and rough sand and whatnot, and it's far more than that. So that when the challenges come, it is able to withstand those storms, those hurricanes, those tornadoes, those tsunamis. I know that there are people who are difficult and they will make you, there are people that I've come across and I have to say, Lord, please, you said not to repay evil for evil. Sometimes I say, Lord, let me just fling off the woman of God had for a moment. Just let me put her on the human heart in its full flight, at its optimal level, and let it go. And I did that, people, once. I did it, and not once. I remember a particular time that I literally categorically premeditated something and said, I'm going to curse this person out. Not leaving it to God, because they had disrespected me. And I really went on badly, May as well did use what we call Jamaican bad words, or even, you have the American ones. I didn't. I'm not generally like that. And people, I found myself apologizing via letter, words. And when I see the person, the level of guilt that remains. And I said, you know what? It is one of it's one of the consequences I've had to face. I said, look at that, I planned it and felt good for the moment. And then when the dust settled and the smoke was cleared, it rested on me. And I said, never again. Never again. Be careful of how you treat people. And an individual is not necessarily a people-oriented kind of person. Not necessarily a people person. But even then, the onus was on me. It's not about them. It is about me. And to this day, sometimes, and I think about it, I said, boy, Toni, you could have avoided that. Why? That's why you have to be careful. That is why they punish people who premeditate, because what they don't understand is a level of the depth that the pain and hurt that they cause intentionally on someone else that probably remains with them. Because sometimes when they see you, they might say, all right, she apologized, but she left a hole in me. I can't trust her. I can't trust him anymore. That's one of our weaknesses as human beings, one of our biases, because when we end up doing it, we want the person to forgive us and trust us because we know that we're transformed. But that is why you have to be careful, because you don't know how the dice is going to roll, and you want to minimize your regrets. That is something that, I can literally subscribe to and advocate the song, I Did It My Way. When it says regrets, I've had a few. It's a song that I like because of that line. Predominantly because of that line. I sing that at events. Let us make regrets being few and be careful, because some of these things, you leave holes and you can't repair those holes. Be careful of how you treat people. It comes back at us, people, and it comes at an inopportune time. I will maybe infrequently post videos like this, because I have to remind me as much as I'm reminding you. Please be careful of how you treat people. Treat people with respect, with love, as difficult as they may be. you will benefit in the long run. Guys, follow me on TikTok, subscribe to my YouTube channel, share this